I wanted to make a recording to go along with this lesson because the last practice that you guys did on verbs, there were a lot of students that made a lot of mistakes. So if we go back to the notes page, first of all, I want to remind you that we've got two sets of endings for regular verbs, les verbes réguliers. We have the IR endings and we have the RE endings. You did a good job with those, but where the problem happened for a lot of students is we had les verbes irréguliers. Sortir, partir, dormir, servir. These are irregular verbs. You cannot apply the IR endings to them. You need to use the irregular conjugations that you have here in the notes for these verbs instead. So anytime when you're doing this practice and you see one of those verbs, okay, this is not always going to be the verb that you conjugate, but when you see servir, dormir, sortir, partir, okay, all the way through. If you see one of those verbs, if that's the verb that you're going to conjugate, you need to be sure that you use those irregular conjugations instead of the regular conjugations. Okay. So the way we're going to do this is like what you did in activity or review B for your quiz and your practice at the end of the review. But you're going to read the sentence and you're going to decide based on the meaning of the sentence which verb do you want to use. So the sentence, the first example says les bons élèves blank leur prof. So we've got the verbs vendre and obéir. And I put some verbs up at the top just because there weren't that many regular verbs and I wanted to have a little bit of variety. I added some more verbs in there. So you look at the sentence. The good students blank their teachers. So we're going to choose between the verb vendre, which you have up here is the verb to sell, and obéir is the verb to obey. So what makes sense in the context of the sentence? The students sell their teachers or the students obey their teachers? Clearly, obéir is going to make more sense. The students obey their teachers. So then, you're going to want to pull your notes up. And if you haven't seen this trick before, to split screen, I had posted it in Google Classroom, but this lets you show two notes in Notability at the same time. So you've got obéir. You come over and you look at the notes, and you check first your irregular verbs. Is obéir one of the irregular IR verbs? It is not, so you need your regular IR endings. Les bons élèves, that's going to make it an IL conjugation. So we need to take off the IR and put on ISS ENT. Come back over here. And it does not want to let me write, so maybe I have to get rid of the split screen there. Obéissent. Les bons élèves obéissent le prof. Second example, we're going to choose between descendre and servir. So we have je blank du train sur le quai. A lot of those words are on your vocab sheet. So we've got the verb descendre, to go down or to get off of a means of transportation, or servir, to serve. So I get off the train on the platform or I serve from the train on the platform. Descendre is the verb that makes more sense. So then we go back to the notes. And we start here with the irregulars. Is it one of the irregular verbs? No, it's not. Descendre ends in RE. So we go over to the RE endings. And with the je conjugation, it's going to tell us to end in just S. Now, one thing that I want to point out where some mistakes were made. Where I said nothing here, what I mean there is not that you do nothing to the verb, but you take off the RE and then you don't add anything onto it. So if the verb is like descendre, it would be il descend with the RE taken off and no ending added to it. It would look like that. So if we go back over here, we're going to conjugate descendre for je. Je descends with an S for that ending. Okay, so you'll continue through, you'll do these 10, and then you'll submit that.